Divine grace, founder of ISKCON Detroit, Charanada Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki Their most merciful Lordship Shri Radhakunja Bihari ki Jai Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mai Subhadra ki Jai Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal ki Jai Shri Gornitai ki Jai Nitai Go Premanand. All glories to the assembled of
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled of
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled of
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. We're in text 26.
28.
What is it?
28.
8. Wow. I did 20 of them. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, entitled The Appearance of Sri Narad. And we're reading from text 28 and 29 are both put together. Drita Vratena Hi Maya Drita Vratena Hi Maya Chandamsi Guravo Naya Chandi Guravo Naya. When you have the apostrophe at the end of a word or the beginning, you put the last vowel with a bow and the G together, making it Gurog Naya. The O and the G go together like that, okay? Manita Nirvyalikena Manita Nirvyalikena Grihitam Chanusasanam Grihitam Chasanam Bharata Vyapadeshena Bharata Vyapadeshena He Amyat Artas Cha Padarshita He Amyartas Cha Pradidashita. That's a tough one. Let's try it again. He Amyartas Cha Pardashita. What stuff is putting the M and the N together and then the Y after that? Drishite Yatra Dharmadi Drishite Yatra Dharmadi Stri Sudradibir Api Uta Stri Sudradibir Api Uta Tritavratena Himaya Sandam Siguravognaya Manita Nirbjalikena Grihitam Chanusashanam Bharata Vyapadeshena Iyam Yascha Pradarshita Drishite Yatta Dharmadi Sri Sudradibir Apyuta Dritavratya Maya Chandam Sigurabnaya Manita Nirvyalikena Grihitam Chanusasanam Bharata Vyapadeshena I Amyartas Chardashita Drishyate Yata Dharmadi Stri Sudra Dibir Apyuta.
Shri Shutirade Virapyuta.
Please, Jim.
Chandam Si Guru. Oh, sorry.
Where?
Scroll.
28.
Drita Vartena Himaya.
Drita Vratena Himaya.
Chandam Si Guru Vagnaya.
Chandram Si Guru Bhogna.
Manita Nirvaya Lekena.
Manita Nirvyalikena.
Grihitam Janushashanam.
Grihitam Janusasanam.
Bhavyapadeshena.
Bharata Vyapadeshena.
Hi Amnayartasya Pardishata.
Hi Amyan Artasya Pardishada.
Jisyatra Dharmadi.
Drishyate Yatra Dharmadi.
Sri Shudradi Apiyuta.
Sri Sudrati Biratyuta.
Dritavratena Himaya.
Drita Vratena Himaya.
Sandam Shri Guravognaya.
Chansi Guru Bhognaya.
Manita Nirvyalikena.
Anita Nirvyalikena.
Grihitam Chanushasanam.
Grihitam Janusasanam.
Bharata Vyapena.
Bharata Vyapadeshena.
Yamnaya Tastadarshitaha.
Yam Yartascha Pradarshita.
Drishyate Yatra Dharmani.
Drishyate Yatra Dharmadi.
Stri Sutradi Virapyuta.
Sri Sudradapyuta. Drita Vratena.
Dritavratena.
Under a strict disciplinary vow, he certainly Maya by me, Tadamsi, the Vedic hymns, Guru, the spiritual masters, Agnaya, the sacrificial fire, Manita, properly worshipped, Nirvyalikena, without pretense, Grihitam cha, also accepted, Anusasanam, traditional discipline, Bharata, Bharat, Vyapadeshena, by compilation of, he certainly, Amnaya Artha, import of disciplic succession, cha, and, pradarta, properly explained, drishye, by what is necessary, yatra, where, dhamma adi, the path of religion, Sri Sudra Adi Vyapi, even by Sudras, etc. Utta, spoken. Dittarvayena Himaya Chandam Sigura Vognaya Manita Nirvyalikena Grihitam Chanusashanam Bharata Vyapadachena Hi Amnyartascha Pardarshita Drishyate Yatra Dharmadi Stri Sudradi Virapyuta. Translation and by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. And I must point out, although I am repeating these words of Sri Vyasadeva, I am not qualified to do so. It's by His mercy that we have the ability and the privilege to be able to recite these words of the Supreme Person. I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata. by which even women, Sudras, and others, friends of the twice-born, can see the path of religion. Please repeat. I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worship the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Sudras, and others, friends of the twice-born, can see the path of religion. Purport by His Divine Grace, Swami Srila Prabhupada. I have under strict disciplinary vows unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Sudras, and others, friends of the twice-born, can see the path of religion. No one can understand the import of the Vedas without having undergone a strict disciplinary vow and disciplic succession. The Vedas, spiritual masters, and sacrificial fire must be worshipped by the desiring candidate. All these intricacies of Vedic knowledge are systematically presented in the Mahabharata for the understanding of the woman, the laborer class, and the unqualified members of the Brahmin, Kshatriya, or Vaishya families. In this age, the Mahabharata is more essential than the original Vedas. Om Jnanatimarandasya Gananjanakaya Chakshushamilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, the reason I opened up as well, stating my own disqualifications, is that this verse brings out the fact that we are all unqualified. We're all born. We're all born in this age, as is described, with the consciousness of Sudra, or working class people. We want, by the result of our labors, some exchange in reward. That's more or less the consciousness, the mindset of Sudras. It's the way the system as well. Brahmins don't have that mentality. And Brahmins are dedicating their lives to service of the Supreme Personality so that the entirety of their life can be used for the service of Krishna. So, what Krishna gives us, we really charge for. And if we do, and we have the mentality to get some reward out of what Krishna gave, then we won't have it. We won't have the real thing. Because the real love doesn't come by expectation of something in turn for its output. That is the nature of love. So this is the nature that we are being guided to be able to develop. And by this chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we can experience that which could only in previous ages be experienced by the most advanced souls of the society, the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, the administrators. But now that this ages of such fallen now has been by the accumulation of generation after generation after generation after generation, developing this Sudrishness. Now we have all been born with the same mentality. I, me, mine. Everything I do is for my pleasure. I live for my purpose, to serve my senses, and according to everything that I determine in my mind is best for me, that's what I do for. And that's the mentality of the people of the world, and they're looking at this as freedom. And from one perspective, it may be thought of as, yeah, you can do whatever you want, that makes you experience some form of freedom. But if you cannot become free from the bonds of birth, death, old age, and disease, which ultimately this verse is pointing out, we have to be connected by someone who is either connected or someone who is a friend of someone who is connected. And that's how these scriptures were originally passed down. Veda Vyas gave them through his son, and also by his own preaching. He gave his association to those that had his personal association. Sukadeva Goswami gave his personal association to Maharaj Pariksit. And by then, the controllers of the masses of people would be educated. And so that with the money that the masses have, I mean in mind, I want something for myself, then they are put into a system that would function for them to be able to be rewarded and satisfied in their minds. But the devotee, knowing that Krishna is ultimately Krishna's presence, Krishna being the source of everything, from whom all things came, and in whose presence there can be no fear, no worry, no doubt, no anxiety about anything, because he's all-powerful, and he's present and knows everything. So this anxiety that we would otherwise have that keeps us from the fullness of the knowledge of the self, the bliss of the self, who is put in the right place at the right time with the right intention. And in that consciousness, then, we can perform the functions of Krishna consciousness given to us and established since even the foundation of the world. The functions that we engage in otherwise every day for ourselves. Now, we are being given the understanding of how we can do that rather with the consciousness that activities and the acts I engage in can actually be found by the Supreme Person to be acceptable by Him. Even though we lived our lives previously in lust, greed, wanting for ourselves and desiring only for ourselves and the benefit of our own welfare, still Krishna, because he is the nature of Krishna is that he is all, and he's giving, but he also has more hands than we have. So he can take more than we can take also. And so being the owner of everything, then we never have to fear or doubt that there will not be enough for us to be able to continue our service. Once we're locked into the eternal chain, we've been taken out of one eternal chain and put into an eternal cycle. So this samsara that we sing about in the morning, samsara dava, is going on. It's a samsara, it's a cycle that has been going on inside only the material universe. So by developing that consciousness of Krishna, then, and the spiritual master naming us so that we can realize our eternal relationship with Krishna and giving us that service accordingly, so that the fulfillment not only in our minds of being free from the clutches of anxiety, death, old age, disease, and all these things, our minds can be filled with the activities, the eternal activities of the Supreme Person, And then this frees us because it's a different energy. So I want to bring out as well, because I heard you yesterday again, chanting Om. You may be getting some experience from the chanting of Om. Yogis end up, you know what a crystal is? Crystal is a rock, right? It's a rock. They use rocks for communication. So when they pick up frequencies in the air, the rock they use to do that with is a crystal, okay? Inside that crystal is a soul that desired one with, and this is what Om is, one with the external energy of God. That's what the rocks are. That's what the earth is. That's what all these planets are. That's what the whole universe is, the external energy of Krishna. So, many paths that are developed by God because of the soul's desire to be all-powerful. The stage of development where they believe that the power is greater than the powerful from whom the power came from, which is ridiculous if you think about it. Krishna is a controller of everything. The power, which is his energy that he emits from the body, is his aura. It is vibrating at a certain sound vibration. It's vibrating at a certain frequency. That's what I was looking for, right? And that's what it is. So you can actually become one with that frequency. You can become one with the frequency of the earth. It's the same frequency. If you want to become one with it, you'll end up in it. With that crystal, you become crystal. You see a king, they wear a diamond. You ever seen that? These kings, they wear diamonds. Or else, in this day and age, women wear diamonds around their ring finger. Not good. Diamonds will, any tiny mistake in the diamond, crack or imperfection, I'm not looking for. Diamond can cause as much harm to the soul that wears it as it would benefit the king, who is the one qualified to wear the diamond. Not everyone's qualified. But in this day and age, with this mentality, I know best for me. I can do whatever I want. Then we get the result of that which we in our minds concoct, thinking we have our own selves, a way to know. But there is a way that's been set since time immemorial for us to follow. And if we follow that way, we will become free from the otherwise results we would get from wanting to be done with or wanting to hear the sound of the material energy. That's what Om is. It's the external energy. When you chant Krishna's name, what Krishna is revealing in that verse when he says, I am the Om, is that when you chant Krishna, Om is included, right? But when you chant Om, when you say sunshine, you can see it through the light here, but it's not really the sun, right? So you get the benefit of the warmth of the rays that are here, but not the knowledge of the goodness of the sun, which is the difference between chanting Om and knowing Krishna as a person. Wanting to become one with the energy of this world and then become a friend of a person whose energy is being radiated externally. We don't want to make a friend with Krishna's aura. We want to be friends with Krishna. So see, this impersonal, what is screwed up Christianity as well. The person who got this impersonal realization because of his own preconceived ideas of what God realization is, His name is Paul. They call him the Apostle Paul. Apostle how? Self-appointed. By his statements and by the power and authority of his having been a Roman soldier now, he's telling the followers of Christ, practicing ahimsa, who had personal association with Christ, that they should follow his instead. So they go ahead and believe that eating meat is fine. You can eat whatever you want, according to Paul. And if you don't think you can, then you're weak in the faith, he believes. And this is Paul, who had a vision of the person he calls the Savior. Light. All-powerful light. So powerful that it blinded him for 3 days. He was blinded. Now, tell me, in your mind, does being blinded by God sound to you like someone that God's very pleased with? Does it really? When you see in the Bhagavad Gita, the persons who please Krishna, Krishna has a conversation with them. He doesn't blind them, right? So, of course, he can blind us to help us understand, guide us. But not that he reveals. He was revealing his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna wasn't blinded. In fact, he was taking in so much by what he was seeing to turn it off. Couldn't take anymore. He was fully aware, and he was seeing what Krishna was. So this blinding light of the aura is not what the devotee is after. After Krishna, the person. And automatically, because when you chant Krishna, automatically, you have to listen for it. But see, here is another thing about listening. It's very important when a person is leading kirtan for us to hear what they're leading. Now, on Sunday, I was so thankful when you took up the mridanga, because you were following the beat and listening to how I was moving. Dr. Brian, I have to talk with, because see, it's not normal drum playing. With normal drum playing, you want to keep a solid beat, constant, right? All the time. That's bhajan. Also, you do the same beat, and it keeps the same rhythmic straight through. Kirtan's not like that. Kirtan starts slow, and then gradually. Because what is happening? Realization is coming with the chanting. And then pretty soon it starts building up and building up and building up. You get to a wow. Everybody is so full. And they've just been exuberating. It's just coming out, blossoming, full bloom, you know. So it's a building up. And so the kirtan, but when you're trying to build and somebody's trying to boom, it doesn't work so well. You know? So I was so thankful Sunday when you started, and then all of a sudden you stopped. I think it was because you couldn't. You were trying to follow me and couldn't have mouth. Oh, you had to go anyways. What were you? Are you seeing what I was saying? though? He was keeping the same steady beat, which is normally what you do, which is very good if you can keep. Even though somebody else is trying to go faster, that keeps it right on time, right? But not with kirtan. You got to lead. You got to follow the lead with kirtan. So, see, this singing is something we, as devotees, we don't take the value of wholeheartedly to realize it is by that singing and our going out in the streets and singing that we bring people the awareness of what life is meant to be experiencing. We're supposed to be experiencing the happiness of singing and dancing all the time. It's bliss. But we complicate things. No, you got to take this test. You got to get this diploma. You got to go do this. Krishna, the only thing he's given us to do as the Dharma to bring us back home is chant. That's all we got to do, really. That's all we really got to do. That is the Dharma for the age. But we got to get the name from the Guru who has the name, who has practiced the name also and experienced it pure. But as well, then, the spiritual master will give us specific instructions as well, which make it like taking the elevator instead of walking up the stairs. So there will be people who will take the chanting of Hare Krishna seriously and not get initiated. But what it does is automatically puts them in the next step above what they would be at if they hadn't. When they get their next birth, they've already chanted their first round. I mean, they're already going to begin chanting very early in life that way, and they're guaranteed a human birth. Vedavyas, in writing these scriptures, which we're going to see, that he wasn't fully satisfied without giving the relationship of Krishna, which the pastimes of Krishna gives. Because while you're reading what Krishna is doing at particular times when he's stealing the gopis, you're forming in your mind about him. And that's relationship. It's relationship. And it can't be replaced by doing something else. We go outside and we cut the grass, or we clean this thing or clean that thing. And so our attention has to be drawn to what we're doing. We can be thinking about Krishna, but when you're reading, your mind is attentive and you're actually formulating opinions. And constant doing this gives you that relationship with Krishna that becomes so sweet, because you come to see how people got attracted and how attractive he is. So you would like to see what that dance must have been in the middle of the night, out in the middle of the dark forest. And here's Krishna, light, the source of all light. Just think about that. The source of all power, the source of all genius, the source of all pleasure, the source of all knowledge. And they're dancing with him. The purest hearts there are in that place with Krishna, to be able to experience that loving relationship with him, with what it would be like to dance with Krishna. Could you imagine? That's what, when we're reading about him dancing with the gopis, Krishna is calling us and giving us this Mangal Arati every morning to come and dance with him. Krishna wants to dance with him. We want to dance the way they dance outside. But there's a yogi step we learn. Put one step in front of the other step. Take one step. Put one step here, one step here, one step. And this way, you don't take up the whole, everybody's not bumping into everybody, make a circle and you can't let go or you're going to fall into it. No, it's very joyous though. And then you follow the rhythm, and eventually it automatically builds up. And what happened, you saw 7 o'clock Archie, right, on Sundays, you've seen, when that drum gets going. He's a professional drummer, great soul too. And see, that buildup of energy, that's internal energy. That's the best energy this human form is going to be able to experience. And so if we let it take over in our lives, we will know what the happiness Krishna is talking about, that we're made of, the bliss we're made of. And this dancing and chanting of Krishna's name will bring it out of us, will allow us to experience more than anything else. Boy, I'll tell you, when this temple room was filled up every morning when I came, 4:15, devotees, when they were chanting, it would, to the extent everybody was sweating profusely. Not supposed to drip sweat in front of the deities, but you couldn't help it because it was so enthusiastically jumping up and down and hitting the bong and ring bells and, hitting the drums. And it was just incredible. And it was like a gym exercise almost, It's a workout. Yeah, incredible. And then we, was it Gorky Shorta? Jagannath Das Babaji. right? They were looking for Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. And I think he was like in his 80s. He might even have been 90-some years old, right? And they're taking him on a palanquin. He didn't walk at this time. But see, in India, when you get old enough and they carry you on a palanquin, you don't have to touch the earth. Well, when saintly persons come to this planet, they don't have to touch the earth. Krishna touches the ground only because he has to play the part of a man. But it's so foreign to him. Touching is so foreign. It's like he has to touch something to make sure he's not gonna, It's almost like he has to force himself to depend on to support him. Can you imagine that? That's how it is, because he floats. He doesn't have to. So you see in Kurukshetra, just because Yudhishthira wouldn't say Ashwatthama was dead, because Duryodhana would have taken his son, and Yudhishthira knew that, but being honesty, Yudhishthira was honesty itself personified. But even honesty itself, when it comes to the point of Krishna asking you something, obeying Krishna is more important and more significant and more advantageous for you and everybody to listen to what Krishna says and do and act upon that. Because what happened, as soon as he didn't obey the instruction of Krishna, it says his chariot touched the ground. Well, I mean, weren't they on the ground anyway? It must be on the ground. How can touching the ground be like something out of the ordinary if it was something that's just all the time happening, right? So these saintly souls that were involved, Krishna's people from the spiritual world, many of them with him. And some of them were being born from demigods, Karna, Arjuna, Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira born from the body from the seed of Yamaraj himself. So Mother Kunti, the same way we ask Krishna's presence by his name, Mother Kunti received the ability to request the presence of God. She didn't know by doing that it would mean that she would now have to give him a son. But this is how Arjuna was born. And so, let's see, Surya, Karna was the firstborn, and she first learned the mantra to Surya. And then she understood that she didn't even know she was going to have to give birth to it, give him a child. But he informed her of that when he came into her presence. But Karna was born. He wasn't born with the same kind of body we have, and these were all, in our minds, they would be giants. Krishna was 12 feet tall, and he was considered normal height, right? People were talking about. So Karna was probably of that same nature. Karna was born with a breastplate. Was probably similar to what we would think of as steel. It may have been his guru wasn't Acharya, may have been, asked him to cut it off, and he did immediately. So powerful was the word of a guru believed to be that you had to do it or die. It's like you do it or your life was considered to be useless if you didn't agree to what he told you to do. Another follower of Dronacharya, he had made an image of Dronacharya, I believe it was, and he had an image. And simply by worship of that image, Dronacharya. Ekla. Okay, yeah. He had gained so much strength and ability, he could have gained the battle himself. He could have outdone Arjuna. And so he asked him, Dronacharya asked him to cut his finger off for that. Yeah, his thumb. So that would have hindered him as well, I feel. So this was all done by fate. It was all arranged before it happened. It was all staged. And they do this in the spiritual world. Playing, acting out events that Krishna took part in as daily activities as young children. They do this. And so that's the spiritual world. If you remember when you were young, when you were a boy, playing out with your friends, playing ball, playing soccer maybe, or just throwing a ball back. In the child's mind, this is going to last forever, isn't it? And that's because that's the way it is. And the soul, the soul free from sinful thoughts, which a child's innocence is in. Child doesn't even have, give me this, give me that. He's not born like, he's not born with prejudice either. You put two kids, totally different race together, they won't see any difference with each other. They play friendly, isn't it? Because it's before their programming, what is called by the Vedas, conditioning. And this is the same way with hypnotism. This is the same way advertising is using to convince people, and what is described with time, millions of years old, Maya. Same energy people are using to manipulate other human beings to buy this, buy that. Oh, you gotta have this. You gotta, if you don't have this, you ain't living, man. Isn't that's the way they're doing with things of this material world, the same way Yogi does for Krishna's energy, Om. He wants that energy of Krishna's mind, my energy, me. That's not the mentality a devotee directs towards Krishna. Krishna, you are the supreme. I will do what you say. Chant your names. So Lord Chaitanya comes along and explains that Krishna has invested all of his spiritual energies in this Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Hare Hare is also that energy of Krishna, but that's the internal energy. But vibration of Krishna, when you say Krishna's name in the Mahamantra, it contains the sound of Om. But you have to hear it, you have to listen for it. It's already included. And so the sound of Om you don't have to produce separately is what my point is. It's all, and the benefit is there. More so with the relationship you would develop with Krishna, the person, than the experience of the sound vibration of Om. Because the person you can gain relationship with. The energy is not the person. Even though it is the same way our aura in us, we don't separate it from ourselves. But if we're going to be friends, you're not going to make conversation with my aura. We're going to talk together. And automatically, whatever, it's just like the cow, the Brahma cow, Brahma bull. He has a nadi. A nadi is an energy. I think the human being has 6. And the Brahma bull has 7. And because of that, the Brahma bull has an aura. It's about 100 times more. These creatures are born in the mode of goodness. Swan born in the mode of goodness. And so the human being not able to pick up or see the energy thinks of it as a normal creature, right? Lower being. These cows are of elevated consciousness. They have more love for their children than mothers in human forms have for their babies. It's fact. They have developed as souls form of love that Krishna has respected to the extent that he gives them life born in the mode of goodness. We haven't been. We just read we're born as Sudras. Sudra is not goodness. Sudra is ignorance. We're born in the darkest ignorance. Krishna's mercy now become most elevated, not because of our doing, because Krishna's name is of that nature. So it's the same way that you get Krishna's energy by knowing the person Krishna. In the same way, God, I wanted to say, that you get the cow. When you pet the cow, your aura increases 10 times. You don't know that. But if we had a curling photography, while you got one hand on the cow, you got the other hand on the camera, you would see 10 times the aura you had if you weren't touching the cow. But it comes automatically by contact with the cow. You don't have to sit a distance away and think about his aura. Automatically, you are benefited by his aura with your personal contact. The same way when you're chanting Hare Krishna, because Krishna has put all of his transcendental energies in that Maha Mantra, automatically the benefit you would chanting Om independently will be added on top of that you get chanting Krishna personally. It's included in that. So you don't, but what you get personally with Om is only Om. See, that's my point. You get Om with the personal chanting of Krishna, but you only get the Om with the chanting of Om. So that's the difference. So that's why I'm trying to encourage you to, while you would be chanting Om, you could be getting the same benefit of the Om, plus the personal benefit, using the time for the Maha Mantra more. I want to just leave this body chanting the Maha Mantra. That's the best way to go. That's my conclusion. I don't see it even being very much stated that a lot of devotees had. Because Srila Prabhupada says actually, see, our engagement in Krishna consciousness also automatically, this seva given by the instructions of the spiritual master is the same benefit, because this is what you're going to do in the spiritual world. Whether you're making a garland Krishna, you might be dressing Krishna, you might cook something. I don't know if cooking is the same. I don't know if fire is even there. But see, there are ways to prepare things for Krishna. What he is accepting here is the endeavor, the energy that you put out to prepare whatever it was you prepared. And that's what he's glancing, that's what he's seeing. And that's what he's taking pleasure in. The fact that you took the energy and the involvement to do it. Now, if you do it without knowledge, by ignorance, that's your own fault. Krishna is not obliged. But because you're so overwhelmingly controlled by the love factor that he has, you might do things disturbingly, seemingly, but when Krishna sees that as well, the devotees have actually thrown the banana away, offered him the peel, and Krishna took that lovingly, So it is the love we have in our hearts for Krishna the person. And we want to develop that to the extent that Krishna feels from us. And then there will be nothing else in our but for friendship with Krishna, for love with Krishna, for experience with Krishna's presence. And that's the goal. And that's the aim. So little by little, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, we will get there. It's guaranteed. Just stay on the path. Any comments, any questions? It's 9 o'clock, so time for prashadam. Yes, Prabhu. John, all glory is yours, Prabhu. Granth Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devyas.